class. I'm Ryan Conrad. I'm going to explain to you my diversity project that I put in place for our final. I think that the diversity subject of having a large family is a lot like having a large corporation. And I wanted to compare the two and find the comparisons of how a large family operates, much like a large company. Diversity in the workplace is a very complicated and touchy subject. The different diversity barriers that present themselves in the workplace daily can be overwhelming and very expensive. Learning how to break down these barriers through training and exercise could save your company precious time and money. Diversity barriers in the workplace could include, but are not limited to, race, religion, gender, sexual identity, disability, single parents, and what I did, parents with large families or large families. I choose to concentrate and research parents with large families. I wanted to find the correlation between running large family and how it compares to managing a very large business. I researched some of the largest companies in the world to be able to make comparisons on how each runs their organization and what factors come into play while managing so many people. Compared to smaller businesses or families, larger businesses and families have different responsibilities to ensure that things are kept running as smooth as possible. I researched McDonald's Corporation. They employ 1.9 million employees worldwide, and they operate 37,000 different restaurants in 120 different countries. And as large as McDonald's is, and as profitable as McDonald's is, they are well known to implement some great rules and regulations to help keep business as great as it has been for the last 63 years since it opened in 1955. I worked at McDonald's. It was my first real job. And one of the things they told me every day was that McDonald's aims to teach young employees how to be at their very best and that they create America's greatest workers. The Cobb family, unlike smaller families, has had to implement these same standards to ensure that their family operates at its very best. One thing that caught me off guard and was quite surprising when I showed up was how polite all the children were. I was greeted even by the second youngest, Otis, with a "Good morning, Mr. Conrad," and a smile. And all the children addressed me as Mr. Conrad the entire 2 days that I was there. I took this as a sign of great respect and a great sign that these parents were managing this family very well. So I had to move locations. My phone couldn't hold the storage, so after meal times and still being greeted as Mr. Conrad with each passing child, I observed as their daily routines of school, crafts, playing outside, and getting ready for vacation and caring for one another began. It really was like being a part of a large corporation with many employees, each being cared for and held accountable for their work ethics. And each older child looked out and cared for the younger ones, much like experienced workers training the young new workforce to replace them someday. Then I conducted a couple of interviews. I interviewed Mr. Cobb. Most of the time he was not at home, but when he did show up, he is the vice president of Marine Credit Union, so he is very familiar with the business world and knows how to manage a large corporation. When he would show up from work, he was greeted with love and mostly he was greeted with respect. Like running a business, he knew that each of his children had specific tasks to accomplish each day, whether that child was successful or not at these tasks. As a good leader, Jason always followed up with each and every one of his kids to make sure that they were accomplishing their assigned tasks. During the interview, which you'll see, he stated that he really enjoys watching the kids work together towards goals that present themselves in everyday life. He doesn't want his children to think that dishes wash themselves or good food cooks itself. He is working towards supplying them with a specific skill set that most children either miss out on or parents do not put in enough effort into teaching their children. And here's a bit of the interview that I conducted with Jason.
So my name's Jason Cobb. I am the Senior Vice President of Operations at Marine Credit Union. My wife and I have 8 children.
Okay.
They range from 4 months up to 14 years.
How do you get around with so many kids?
Yeah, so this year got a mini school bus, and we've converted it into like kind of like half people transport, half camper. We like to camp and be outdoors and do stuff and do impromptu trips and things like that.
How do you think running your family could be similar to running a business? And you're kind of a business guy, and you're in the business world. I mean, is it similar?
Yeah, well, in some ways. I think a big part of it's delegation. So that's one thing I work with Krista on is, she can't do it all, and so she has to delegate to the kids. Another thing would be, as the kids get older, they have to have the freedom to be able to make their mistakes, and that's the way I feel that people leadership in organizations have to have that too, where you have to have enough freedom to be able to make mistakes and then learn from them and go on and not have it be the end of the world.
And then next, I spent most of my time talking with Krista Cobb about how she feels her large family acts like a large corporation. She said that big companies, one of her biggest struggles is when a flu bug goes through their house. With so many kids, a flu bug really causes a lot of problems. This is compared to a sickness working its way through a company, causing attendance issues, which could cause less production. Speaking with her about production, she said that she enjoys seeing the changes as the kids grow older and more responsible. Her responsibilities are less stressful, knowing that the older kids are helping the younger ones. And as I spoke with her, I videotaped our interview, and here's a little bit of that.
Krista Cobb.
And what do you do?
I am a mom. We homeschool all these children.
Awesome.
So if everybody gets sick, that is when it's stressful, because a vomiting bug going through this many people is a lot to clean up and a lot of mess. But other than that, I don't know that it's really too much more than something else. I like watching the kids with each other. I like that they come over and ask to hold Lumina, or like in the middle of the night last night, Otis started crying, so Willow woke up and asked if she could come take him. That I love seeing their love for each other.
That's
my
awesome.
favorite.
That's awesome.
You get to see different ages and stages that I have a 14-year-old and I have a 3-month-old, so I can see that she will grow and change, and I don't have to get so worried about things as I might have in the past. Yeah, I
If you want.
I worry about buy their kids' clothes and groceries and try and manage things. So we have 2 different refrigerators and 2 separate freezers on top of the other 2 freezers that are part of the refrigerator freezers. So we have a lot of areas that we store food. So I try and get, when things are on sale, like when a friend texted and said that that ground beef was $1 a pound at Festival. How much did we buy? 250 pounds. I think we bought a lot to have, so that we could have it on hand, so we can have the space to put it, but then be able to feed our family for reasonable amounts.
Sure. The last interview I conducted was of the kids. I asked them what their responsibilities were and how they felt about living in such a large family. They were all very excited to be part of a large family, but some of the older kids felt that they did most of the workload while their parents micromanaged them a lot of the time. Here's a little snippet of what the kids had to say. What are some of your favorite things to do as a family?
Going to the sweet shop.
The sweet shop? Okay.
Going to Mad Olympus. Going and swimming in the Great Lakes.
Going to ducking.
Do you guys help your mom and dad take care of the house?
Yeah.
What do you guys each do?
That implies that they take care of the house.
Whoa.
It is not so.
Well, we clean this whole house sometimes.
Do you?
I do sitting in entry, and then after dinner I have to wash dishes and do my room. I have to do my room and the black room, and before dinner I have to carry over folks. After I have to sweep and wash the table.
Nice.
So go over the paper down, and then do the paper down, and then after we eat, I have to go over the dishes. Yeah, I sleep with others too.
You sleep with others? Okay. And how about you? Just teach them how to be cool?
Yeah.
Okay, nice. So in conclusion, I had a great time doing this project and spending time with the Cobb family. I feel that this diversity issue is very important because unlike small companies, larger companies have different needs and responsibilities. When you have more employees to look after, it can cause production to be better or it could cause production to be worse. And unless good rules and regulations are put in place, large businesses could end up losing the respect of its workforce, which could in the end cause poor production and the closing of the doors. So I had a good time doing this project and hope you all enjoyed. Bye-bye.